I'll try to stay on the mic this evening. Can everybody hear me? Good evening. Welcome to this Tuesday, August 4th, 2020 meeting of the Raymore Planning and Zoning Commission. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll call roll. Commissioner Wiggins. Commissioner Bowie.
Present.
Commissioner Ackland.
Present.
Commissioner Fizer.
Present.
Commissioner Peterman.
Present.
Commissioner Urquia. Commissioner Manser.
Present.
Mayor Turnbow.
Present.
And Commissioner Faulkner is present. So we do have a quorum. Let me
Commissioner
belatedly.
Faulkner, could I ask a question before we get going?
Of course.
So last night I made the announcement at our work session that we've taken extra precautionary measures for protection between the members of the commission and members of the staff as well. And we did not make it obligatory to wear a mask in order for you to be able to speak more clearly into the microphone. Some of us who have a heavier mask can sometimes be muffled with their speech, but with the protections that we have, it's up to you. You can leave it on, but we felt comfortable enough. I think about half of our crew last night took theirs off, the rest of them left them on, but
Okay,
it's
thank you.
totally a personal decision on your part.
I'm in the habit of wearing the mask, but if it becomes a problem, then we'll take advantage of that opportunity.
All right, sir.
I can hear Commissioner Wiggins in my ear, even though he's not here this evening, but I can hear his message to me to stay on the mic, so I will absolutely try to do that. All right, and let me remind other commissioners, make sure your mic is lighted green, and please speak into the microphone for the record. Okay, moving on the agenda, we have no personal appearances this evening. We have 2 items on consent agenda: approval of minutes from our July 7th, 2020 meeting, and case 20013, Dean Avenue Extension, right-of-way final plat. And unless any of the commissioners or the mayor have any concerns and want to take anything off of the consent agenda for discussion, I would entertain a motion to accept consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as proposed, both items A and B.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right. Thank you. Motion by Mayor Turnbow, second by Commissioner Peterman to accept consent agenda items A and B as presented. All those in favor, raise a hand, please. 7. Any opposed and abstentions? All right, so I have 7 in favor, no nays, and Commissioner Bowie abstaining from that vote. Thank you. Nothing this evening under unfinished business, and our case under new business this evening is case 20009, Oak Ridge Farms rezoning. This case will require a public hearing. And is the applicant present this evening? Would you like to come forward to the podium and present your case, please?
Good evening.
And yeah.
Good evening.
That's lighted green?
Yep, it's
Good.
lit green now.
Thank you.
I'm Sean Duke with Snyder Associates, 802 Francis, St. Joseph, Missouri, 64501. I'm here on behalf of the developer, Sean Siebert. He had planned to be here tonight. He felt kind of ill this afternoon and felt with the current conditions of how everything is, that it felt best just to stay home and not take any chances to come here this evening. But he did plan and wanted to be here. We're here on his behalf as the developer, as the engineers for the project. To go over, I think you might be somewhat familiar with this. This is basically the third phase now of Oak Ridge Farms. As we extend there towards the east, we're basically expanding off what's already been constructed in the phases 1 and 2. As you look at the plan, the northern edge of that is all designed to be single-family homes. And as we come down towards the south, we have back into the duplex homes that are similar to what you see out there now is on the west side in phases 1 and 2. Same kind of style, same plan, same construction, same roadway design. This is going to be very similar to what you already see out there now. Basically, everything's just an expansion. This is the third phase as we continue across. Do have the larger detention basin on the south. It's there. There's a planned walking trail around that. Other than that, we're just continuing on for our third phase here. Is there any questions, I guess, you might have?
Do any of the commission members have a question while the engineer is at the podium? Mayor Turnbow?
I saw that the plan is split into single-family and duplex homes. I think I saw 23 single-family and 34 duplex homes on the list itself. What can you describe the size of some of those duplexes with regard to square footage, bedrooms, things like that?
Yeah, I think I have. I think they're all. I have that written down here. They're similar. I think we have a combination of two different sizes of homes. I don't know if I have the elevations. Do you have the elevations? Okay. Yeah, there's 60-foot wide duplexes, and then there's 78-foot wide duplexes. So that's the overall for both units. I was thinking they were. Yeah, I guess I can't quote for certain. They were in the. I think they were. I'd have to look and see. I think they were somewhere in that 1,200 to 1,500 square foot range. There were 2 to 3 bedrooms. Some had basements, some don't, depending on the configuration. I don't know if you had those, Katie. Yeah, here we go. So the 1,228 square foot is the 60-foot wide homes, the smaller one, and then the larger one. I don't know if I have that floor plan here. And there's one that's slightly larger. It was around 1,300 to 1,400 square feet. I don't have that floor plan here. But they're basically between two bedroom homes. Some might have a basement with them. Might have an additional bedroom, I believe, if it fits with the walkout setup.
Okay.
But they're basically 2 bedrooms.
But that's the duplex. So the single-family homes are some of those just 2 bedrooms as well? Some of the single families?
Yes, that's my understanding. There's still 2 bedrooms. They're not. They're still fairly. They're kind of in the newer concept of the smaller homes you're seeing now, where they're more of what we're starting to see. I've been doing this across part of the Kansas City Metro. This is kind of a new starter home. Is down smaller to that 2 bedroom, that 1,200 square foot house, where you can try to, get the economy, make it affordability to drop the size down.
Yep. Yeah, and we've kind of had an inkling that they were moving in this direction because we had pushed back on their initial first phase to have a master growth plan where we could see what their intention is. This does appear to fall within an intent for the expansion of that, and I assume it's still Mr. Seaver's intent for these all to be rental properties as well.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
As it is in his intent. There's options for it if they decided to. They're still all going to be individual lots and stuff. But his intent is to keep the ownership of it, is my understanding.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that is, as far as the original master plan, we are basically matching that with the single families. We did take out the multiplex. There was some fourplex in the center of that originally in that master plan. We've removed that and gone back to just duplexes in that area.
Excellent. Okay,
just to kind of keep with the same theme throughout the whole entire
sure.
development.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? While applicant is at the podium? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll call you back if we have more. Thank you. Found the gavel. At this point, I would like to open the public hearing on case 20009, rezoning Oak Ridge Farms R1 to planned unit development, PUD. And if anyone from the public would like to speak on this case, please come forward to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. And seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and we'll open the floor for discussion by the commission.
Do you need a staff report?
Oh, sorry, forgot that. We'd like to hear the staff report. Thank you, Mayor Turnbow.
Thank you, Mr.
Ms.
Commissioner.
Jardo?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. This is the request to reclassify the zoning of 23.8 acres from single-family residential to PUD, planned unit development. The area is south of East Foxwood Drive and to the east of what is now Heritage Hills. I would like to read into the record the items of record. Exhibit 1, mailed notices to the adjoining property owners. Exhibit 2, notice of publication. Exhibit 3, Unified Development Code. Exhibit 4, the application. Exhibit 5, the growth management plan. Exhibit 6, the staff report, and Exhibit 7, the preliminary plan. The original rezoning to R1 was approved back in April of 1979, and then the larger subdivision of Heritage Hills to the west of the property was rezoned from that R1 to R2, which is single and two-family residential, on February of 2017, and then the second phase in August of 2017. There was a good neighbor meeting on Wednesday, July 15th, here in the council chambers of City Hall. 4 residents attended the meeting along with city staff. There were kind of 2 overarching themes and comments. The first was, what does the change in zoning actually mean? So changing it from single family to PUD, and that was just explained that it gives the city more control over the development and allows for the attached housing as opposed to just single family detached. And then the other concern was the drainage behind the row of houses to the north along East Foxwood. There's currently a ditch, but that ditch ends. So the developer explained that much of the ditch that's currently there is actually unfinished. So they will continue the ditch to the east so that the water then drains correctly to the creek. One resident then also came and stated that he lives in Heritage Hills, which is also owned by the developer, and stated that any issues that he's had were taken care of in a timely manner, and he was a proponent of the new development as well. As part of the new preliminary plan, the UDC requires there to be a parkland dedication or a fee in lieu payment. The applicant is requesting that the city provide credit for an 8-foot trail that he plans to construct surrounding the pond, which is towards the south end of the property. A public access easement will be provided over the trail. However, the land and the maintenance around the trail will be the responsibility of the developer. The estimated cost of the trail exceeds the potential fee in lieu payment that would be required, so he is going up kind of above what he needed to do. Staff also proposes the findings of fact. The proposed rezoning request respects the existing zoning and land use of the surrounding property. The property would allow for an extension of a very successful and well-developed residential community to the west. City staff recommends the Planning and Zoning Commission accept the staff proposed findings of fact and forward case 20009, a rezoning of 23.8 acres to the east of Heritage Hills from R1 single-family residential to PUD, planned unit development, to City Council with a recommendation of approval. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Jardo. Okay, now would seem like a better time to open the floor for discussion by the commission. I do have one question. Ms. Jardot, you probably can answer this, but on page 7 of the staff report, under number 5, it mentions, as you just did, the 8-foot trail planned to be constructed surrounding the pond. And I just wanted to confirm, I don't believe the pond is there now, but the pond is shown on the plans. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so not only is the trail to be built, but the pond is also to be built
Yes,
as
sir.
part of the development. Okay.
Yes.
I was pretty sure that was true, but I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
It's currently to kind of the east. There is a detention area in the northeast corner that's currently there, and so this will be a larger detention pond with water in it that's going to be constructed to the south.
Okay, so it's wet.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Oh, sorry. Commissioner Urquia.
Thank you, Chair. Do we know what the potential new population or occupancy for these homes once constructed would be? Like how many more people this would allow?
I don't remember the exact calculation that we typically use, but I believe it's 2.8 people per dwelling unit. So that would be around 110 if you follow the typical, what we use for parkland dedication in determining occupancy.
Okay. And are there going to be any changes to 58 for entrance and exit into the neighborhood with the increased occupancy? Or do we anticipate any impact on traffic in that section of 58?
So they currently will have 2 ways in and out. So we don't have any current plans to change 58 or make any additions to 58.
And are those 2, you're talking about Franklin and Crest?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, actually, Crest won't connect. They're putting in a cul-de-sac there at the end of Crest, because Crest will come up just south of the retention basin that they're going to build the trail around. So the 2 streets that you've got on 58 by Cumberland, you've got, is it Adams and Monroe, or Washington? I
Franklin?
can't remember the names of those 2 streets. And then you've got the one there by, off of Pine Street. So you've got 3 that go in and out of that particular area.
Any other questions? Commissioner Urquia, did that answer your question, or?
Yeah, I'm good for now. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion on the case.
Mr. Chair? Yep.
Mayor Turnbow.
I would make a motion that the commission accept the proposed findings of fact and approve, see where I'm looking at here. I couldn't really find it. Is it over here? Okay, here we go. Accept the staff proposed findings of fact and forward case number 20009, rezoning of 23.8 acres to the east of Heritage Hills from R1 Single Family Residential District to PUD Planned Unit Development District for to the City Council for a recommendation of approval.
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Turnbow, and second by Commissioner Urquia. And so we have a motion on the floor to accept staff proposed findings of fact and forward case 20009, rezoning of 23.8 acres to the east of Heritage Hills from R1 to PUD, and forward that to City Council with a recommendation of approval. Sound right, Mr. Zer?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, raise a hand, please. 7, 8. And that's 8 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. And thank you very much. All right. And that concludes new business. Our next item on our agenda this evening, Mr. Zer, if you have a city council report for us, we'd love to hear it.
Thank you, Chairman Faulkner. I'm happy to provide that. As always, I would invite Mr. Cataret or Mayor Turnbow to chime in with any additional information that I might miss. Since our last meeting of the Raymore Planning and Zoning Commission, there have been 2 meetings of the City Council. First one occurring on July 13th, 2020, and the second one occurring on July 27th, 2020. For our purposes this evening, I would simply note that the July 27th meeting, nothing on there of critical concern with regard to this commission, so I will refer to all of the items that were approved on the July 13th agenda. That evening, we had 4 items on the agenda, each of which had come through the Planning and Zoning Commission on June 16th. Each one of those items at the June 16th had been approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Each item on the agenda that was approved for July 13th had also had a first reading on June 22nd, 2020 by the City Council, each one of which were unanimously approved. The City Council followed suit on each one of them and approved them, so the process for development, at least through the city side of it, has been completed. Those 4 items included the Foxwood Springs rezoning, which was the agricultural rezoning to PUD of the small portion of Foxwood Springs up behind their maintenance shed. This was approved by a unanimous vote of the City Council. The next item that was approved was an original town Block 8 alley vacation. This was the vacation of the alley that transected the middle of TB Hanna Station Park and has now been vacated so that they can continue the development without having to worry about utilities or other access points through it. The next one was the Eastbrook at Creekmore first final plat. This was a 34-lot single-family development located on the west side of the North Madison Street, south of the Creekmore Maintenance Building. This one again received a unanimous approval from the City Council. And then finally, the Brookside 10th replat of Tracts X and Y. This established 2 single-family lots and split the Tract Y to create a new Tract Z, again approved unanimously by the City Council. That would be all that I have this evening for you all as the City Council report.
Thank you, Mr. Zer. Anything to add, Mr. Cataret, Mayor Turnbow? Okay. Thank you. Moving along then, Mr. Cataret and Ms. Jardot, we're ready for tonight's staff report.
Yes, sir, thank you. 3 items tonight. First, just looking at our pipeline for upcoming meetings. We do not have anything scheduled for the August 18th Planning Commission meeting, so would recommend the commission cancel the August 18th meeting. We do have items for September. September 1st will be our review of the capital improvement program for the city. City Manager Jim Feuerborn will make that presentation as he does each year to go over the CIP. And then on September 15th, we will have the UDC amendments that we talked about at your last meeting for the miscellaneous items we discussed as part of the annual review of the UDC. Second item, in talking about UDC amendments, if you recall, actually it was a year ago at our annual review, staff had indicated we were starting the research on creating an amendment that dealt with small wireless facilities. These are facilities, let me back up. In the 2018 state legislature adopted the Uniform Small Wireless Deployment Act, and it was basically a direction given to communities that would allow by right the small facilities to be located in the public right-of-way. They provided guidance for the communities to follow. MML followed that up with a draft ordinance. They wanted the communities to have uniform regulations, so they recommended their model ordinance, which we have followed in our proposed amendment. What this in essence does is, with the new 5G technology for cell phones, basically the deployment is done on smaller towers, typically affixed to city utility poles, whether it's a light pole or other pole that would be within the right-of-way. We are allowed some regulation of the use of our right-of-way. They do have to pay permit fees. They do have to follow our general guidelines, but they are permitted by right. We cannot stop the installation of these utilities. Only within our single-family districts can we control the location of the poles. But we are, again, this would be an amendment to our UDC, and we would look to bring that forward to you. Believe I would have that scheduled for the September 15th. I believe the September 15th Planning Commission, but with your authorization to do that, since it is a UDC amendment. We want to keep it separate from the other amendment we talked about with all the small different items that we talked about last month. But we've been working on that for the past year. We need to get that in place. We don't have any applications. We don't have any carriers that are asking to utilize our right-of-way, but we want to have the provision in place to be prepared when they do come to our community, or if they come to our community. So, again, if you recall, we had discussed that, but it had been
I think it
About a year.
makes sense to me to keep that separate from the other one that's in the works. Does that sound okay to the rest of the commission? I don't see any opposition, so
all right. Thank you for that.
go ahead and we'll look for that at a future meeting.
One of the items, and that actually may be on the September 1st agenda with the UDC, the annual review of the miscellaneous items on the 15th. I may have had the dates mixed up on those.
Okay, sure.
Just the third item, just give an update on the U.S. Census, which has been ongoing for some time. We've done a lot through our communications department. We've done a lot of publicity on getting individuals to complete the census. At a national level, it's currently at 63% response rate. State of Missouri is at 63.1% response rate. For Raymore, we're at 77.8%, so we're ahead of where we were 10 years ago, about the same time frame. Obviously, we want that to be as high as it certainly can be. We know that the Census Bureau is going through a lot of changes right now. In fact, they were scheduled to do their in-person, door-to-door knocking. If you didn't complete the census, they have set that aside. They will not be doing that. They are still, obviously, we're still working through the process of getting people to go online, however we can get them registered. So we'll continue to work on that. There's, the Census Bureau is still, I guess, trying to figure out next steps. But what I have heard is that they do not intend to do the door-to-door canvassing that, again, with the COVID-19 situation, they just aren't comfortable in doing that. So I haven't heard how they're going to replace that action to get, nationally, if we're only at 63%, that's somewhat of a low number. So clearly they've got to come up with a plan. Have you heard anything different than what I'm saying?
No, just that there had been talks about extending the deadline of when they needed to get the data to the president's desk, and they have since sort of walked that back and are talking about sticking with the October deadline, so that gives them a very short time to turn around the data to get it to the president in October.
The response rate that we have, 77%. It's, I think Lee Summit's 78%, Pleasant Hill's the same, Belton's the lower 70s. Well, all the communities in this area are about the same response rate. But I know we will continue our efforts in a growing community. This is critical information. We've got to get this number right. So we'll continue to do what we have to do to get the response rate up, the 80s, hopefully 90% rate. I just wanted to give you an update on that. And again, as we hear more information from the Census Bureau, which we check in daily with them, again, they're just trying to figure out their next steps as well. I believe that would conclude staff report this evening.
Okay, I do have a question, Mr. Carteret. So the monthly report that was in our packets is dated June. Is there a July report available yet?
It was not available when we did the packets.
Right.
I did not complete it today. I was working on it today. It needs to be in the council packet,
Sure.
which is done tomorrow. So it will be completed tomorrow, and then I will email it to all of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was going to request, can you email that? So that's great. Thank you. Anything to add from an engineering department point of view, Mr. Carteret?
You all have probably seen a lot of activity up at the Galleria North site. This is where the Westgate Drive,
Okay.
Our GeoBond project is currently, has the curb in. They were doing sidewalks today. The turn lane on 58 has a sub-base of pavement, moving very quickly with that project. You'll also see a little bit of dirt moving beside Belfonte's. That actually is going to be an access drive that gets into the rear access drive and the land behind it. That was part of the initial approval for Galleria North. They just did not construct that in their first phase. They have a tenant that will be locating between Belfonte Car Wash and Foxwood Springs. Part of that deal with that tenant was to have this second access drive constructed. So that's what you'll see today. They've done some excavation work. They'll be lining up curb. That is going to be a private drive maintained by the developer. And then hopefully here in a few weeks that the prospective business will come forward with a site plan, and then we can identify who that tenant would be. So you're seeing activity, a lot of activity happening up in the Westgate area. Dean Avenue, the final plat that you approved this evening, that was for the dedication of the right-of-way to the city. With their preliminary plat approval, they were able to start construction on that roadway, so that's what the dirt work you're seeing is. They are constructing the full length of the roadway with the cul-de-sac at the southern end of it in preparation for for Van Trust doing their first building, which they intend to do on the northernmost lot. We'll be seeing that project move forward shortly. But that project is fully funded by Van Trust. They are paying for that road extension.
And I remember T.B. Hanna right-of-way vacation came through Planning and Zoning Commission not very long ago, and so can you give us any update on work being done there?
Doing the final touches on the site grading, and I didn't go by it today, but I don't believe they've installed the spray ground equipment yet, but they're very close. There was a minor issue with one piece of equipment they're trying to resolve before they installed the actual spray equipment.
No, right.
So once they get that resolved, I think you'll see that work finish up, but very near completion.
I can't remember how many days ago, but last time I was by there, the construction fences were still in place, and so I assumed there was still work to be done.
They were still doing site work, and we want to try to get some of the, not the time to grow grass, but want to get some seed at least established if we could before we remove the fence, and the public will start utilizing that property. So that's why you still see the fencing there.
Okay. Well, we'll tell Mr. Kress that he owes you one. Thank you for that report. I'll open the floor for public comment. And seeing no public, we will move on to commission member comment. We're scattered out a little differently this evening. Commissioner Bowie, can I start with you this evening?
No comment. Thank you for your hard work, staff. Glad to be back after missing.
And Commissioner Peterman?
Nothing for me tonight.
Commissioner Mansur?
No comment from me. Thank you, staff.
It's moving quickly. Vice Chair Pfizer.
Yeah, thanks to the staff for all of their work, and everybody stay safe.
Commissioner Ackland.
No comments from me. I do want to thank you for your hard work as well.
And Commissioner Urquia.
I'll just note that in voting today here at Centerview, it was easy to get in and out. It wasn't a whole big crowd. I had zero concern when I was there voting today. And my wife, who voted this evening, she said the same thing. The traffic was light and easy to get in and out. So kudos to whoever has been planning and organizing that to get that done today. I also want to note that my kids and I have been frequenting the new playground out at Rec Park. They absolutely enjoy it. So again, kudos to the design there and Park and Rec for the redesign that they did at that location. And then, as always, thank you, city staff, for everything that you do. And yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you. Mayor Turnbow.
Just asking that, I'm sure the votes are all in now. It's 40 minutes after the hour or near that. But keep your fingers crossed that the GEO bond issues pass. Need 57%. So we'll see how things go tonight. Should be a nail biter. We'll see. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to thank city staff as well, and whoever put all the hard work into the petitions. Looks like well thought out and nicely done, and I hope it helps. Statistics on the news are not particularly good, so anything that helps seems like a very good thing. Unless anyone has any other comments this evening, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
So moved.
Who was that? Commissioner Urquia, do I hear a second? And second by Commissioner Pfizer. I thought maybe we were going to make Mayor Turnbow do all the work this evening. All those in favor of adjournment, raise a hand, please. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. Thank you very much.